Hello and welcome, I'm Izzy at Minerva. In today's video we're going to look at how to hack our very own Minerva Exclusive Christina Dress, which is shown in the image next to me here. Now this dress is designed for stretchy jersey fabric and it is a lovely long sleeve top with a princess seam coming down the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to hack it, we're going to alter it from the original design to this design right here. So we're going to create a short sleeved jersey top and the sleeves are going to have a beautiful little tulip detail. They're going to be super gorgeous and I cannot wait to draft those out with you. So in today's video I'm going to show you how to adjust the original pattern and how to make the changes, and then I'm also going to show you how to sew it up, which is going to be fun. So to follow along today, you are going to need your very own Christina Dress sewing pattern, which you can purchase on our website, and then you're going to cut it out in the size that you require. So that's your starting point. If you're not sure what size to cut out, obviously you can refer to the instruction booklet, but we do also have a fit video all about the Christina pattern and how to fit that, which includes showing you how to measure your body and how to pick the right pattern size. So do take a look on our Minerva YouTube channel for further information on that. In addition, we have two other videos relating to the Christina sewing pattern, which is a fabric focus video all about the fabrics that you can purchase for the pattern and that will look really good in this particular pattern, and also a sew along. So as well as the instruction booklet, you can refer to the sew along video to see how to sew the common steps for this particular pattern. Okay, let's get straight on into drafting our pattern pieces. We're going to start off by shortening the dress pieces so that they are top length instead, which is really straightforward. In front of me here, I've got pattern pieces B, which is the front cut on the fold, and C, which is the side front. So we've got our two front pieces in front of me here. Now, on this particular pattern piece, you can see we've got notches for the bust, notches for the waist location, and also for the hip location. At this point, it's a complete choice as to how long you want your top to be. It could be hip length, it could be below hip length if you want a slightly sort of tunic style-esque look, or you could go for somewhere between the waist and the hips. It's completely up to you. What I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to take my notch, which is here, that's the one for my size, and I'm just going to mark a point 5 centimeters above my hip line. Now this is going to include my hemline, so I'm raising it up 5 centimeters from the hip line, but then in total the finished hemline is going to be 1.5 centimeters above that. Then measure the distance from your offset point here down to the hem. For me it's 35, and just consistently mark along a whole batch of little notches all the way along the hemline here, an equal distance from the hemline. Repeat the same process for the other side, offsetting from the hemline the exact same distance as you did for your first piece. Then just cut along that line. And there you have it, two pieces completely done. Let's now just do exactly the same for the back pattern pieces. So back pattern pieces D and E, we're just going to repeat the process by marking the new hemline at the same distance from the original hemline as we did for the first pieces. So for me, I'm just going to offset and cut off 35 centimeters. Okay, just like that. Okay, great. Now let's move on to our sleeve pattern detail. This is a fabulous little detail where we're going to do a little tulip sleeve where we're going to have two sleeve pieces which are going to overlap over each other like a little petal. It's going to look absolutely gorgeous. So grab your sleeve pattern piece, which is F, and the first thing I want you to do is just to think about how deep you want your sleeve to be. So the depth from underneath your armpit down, how deep do you want it to be? This is a design choice and you can choose your own personal bespoke depth. Don't forget that as you think about your length of your sleeve that you want it to be, you've got a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance from the top to think about. So mark a point 1.5 centimeters below and then just think how deep do you want it to be. So for me, I'm going to drop it down 9.5 centimeters, and that includes my hem allowance at the bottom of my sleeve, and it's offset from my seam allowance up at the top here. The total distance, I've offset it from the top of the sleeve, is therefore 11 centimeters. Do the same on the other side and just drop it down 11 centimeters. Now, I'm just going to dash that across in a nice consistent line. And then just remove that volume. Okay, grab some tracing paper and pop that over your pattern piece. So here we go, just like this. Now we've got a front armhole notch here, we've got the center of the shoulder seam up here, and the back armhole notch here. I want to work from this center point and mark 2 points equal distance from that center point. Now because this is a curve, I'm going to use my tape measure, and I'm just going to mark a point 10 centimeters offset from that center point. So right there, and again 10 centimeters from the top of that arm side, right there. Beautiful. Now what we want to do is literally just draw in a style line of a beautiful little curve. So use your pattern drafting ruler if you want to. So something like that looks really nice. So once you've got a curve that you like, just finish it off. Continue to trace around the rest of the sleeve as shown. Annotate these 2 notches here, which were on the original pattern piece. Now, we also want to put another notch on the pattern piece around this location here, and that's going to indicate where the other sleeve is going to attach onto. So, effectively, where this section of the other sleeve is going to rotate and sit onto. But don't forget that this line here represents the cut line on the fabric, and the hem line is 1.5 centimeters inwards of that. So on this particular piece, let's just dash out the 1.5 centimeter hem allowance so you can see it clearly. So when the other piece crosses over, it's going to match up 1.5 centimeters away from that point there. So I'm going to draw in a notch there, and I'm going to make it into a triangle shape so that I know the triangle is where the other pattern piece matches over and attaches onto it. Okay, so next annotate the pattern piece. Just to say it's the front sleeve, and we're going to cut 2. Brilliant. Cut out that pattern piece. Okay, you can now work on the original pattern piece. Pop the pattern that you've just drafted over on top of it like that so you can see exactly where it's all going to match up. That's looking really good. Then the first thing I want to do when I annotate this one is I want to annotate a little triangle at this point where the seam allowance hits this piece. So right here. Once you've got the notch there, then we just want to annotate where the original start point needs to be for this curve, which was 10 centimeters offset. So it's at this point here. Working from that point there, we then want to create a curve which is similar in shape to this one right here. So I just line up the side seam over here, and they're not going to match up perfectly because obviously front and back are slightly different shapes, but you can make sure that the curve and the offset down here is similar to start off with, even though you're aiming for something just a little bit offset. So dash out that curve, that shape that you want, the style line, and that's literally it, because we've got all of our other annotations already on there and we're all good to go. So cut away the excess and then just annotate your pattern piece to say where the grain line is and that this is the back sleeve, cut 2. And there we have it. Brilliant. Well, we have now drafted all the things we need to do and done all the alterations we need to do to create our Christina dress into a top with beautiful tulip sleeves. So go and grab your fabric, cut out your pattern pieces and come back and join me. I will be demoing any steps that differ from the original pattern instructions. So we're going to be referring to the booklet and then also doing a few little demos in the next few minutes. So let's go and start sewing. In this video, we've chosen to use the Minerva Exclusive Subverted Skyline Recycled Crushed Velvet Stretch Knit fabric. This is one of our print-on-demand fabrics and it is full of gorgeous colours. So as you can see, I've already sewn up quite a lot of the garments because the steps are all exactly the same as you've got in the booklet. So I've sewn the front pieces together, back pieces together, shoulders and side seams, and I've also done the neckband. What I've not done is I've not done the sleeves. So looking through the instruction booklet, I've sewn step 1 all the way through to step 9, and now we're going to add the sleeves. So we're going to do that slightly differently because obviously we've got these gorgeous tulip sleeves. So we've got these 2 separate sleeve pattern pieces, and the first thing that we want to do is for all 4 of them, so we've got 4 pieces in total, you want to overlock the edges of each and every one. Then you want to turn them over to the wrong side and put wrong sides together and turn it up 1.5 centimeters to give it your hem. Okay, now you might want to pin this and iron this, or you may want to just use some Wonder Tape to stick it down. You just do you and use your preferred method to get that 1.5 centimetre hem. Now, when you top stitch that underarm seam, leave a small section at this point here unstitched, so it's not top stitched down at all. You've got a nice continuous raw edge all the way down there, so we've only top stitched the majority from the top of the sleeve almost all the way to the underarm, leaving about 5 centimetres from the underarm seam. Do that on both pieces. Next, find the top centre notch and pop the front pattern piece over the back, aligning that little notch together, and just pin in place. Next, you've got another little notch over here, and that will line up beautifully with your hem of the top of your sleeve. And you should have one more on the opposite side that lines up with the hem of the back sleeve. So there we go, we've got the whole thing beautifully overlapped. Just baste that in place now, using a long stitch length and stitching about 5 millimeters away from the raw edge. Brilliant, just like that. So now you've got both pattern pieces sewn together up at the top to complete effectively one full sleeve. Now then, right sides together, we want to flip one side over the other and pin in place down that underarm seam. And because at the bottom down here, we've got the fabric can be flipped out so that the raw edges or the overlocked edges are aligning, just make sure you get that really nice and neat. Sew using your standard seam allowance. And once you've sewn it, just finish using your preferred method. Brilliant. Now, we've sewn that in place. We've now got a really cute little shape of a sleeve about to happen, but we just need to finish this underarm bit here. Now, the beauty of doing it this way is that now we can fold up that hemline just like this, and we can get a perfectly even finish all the way around the bottom of our sleeve like that. So give that a press, just that small section there, and then we're just going to continue to sew and top stitch from where we stopped top stitching one side all the way through to the other side. So it's just a really small section. Brilliant. Okay, so there's our cute little sleeve. She's done now, she's ready to go. So we've basically done step 10 now, and we're going to continue to sew step 11 exactly as it has in the booklet, and then step 12 and 13 is just to hem the bottom. We'll do that in the same way, and we've already hemmed the sleeves. So once you've done that, let's take a look and see what it looks like. So here we have our gorgeous adapted Christina dress, looking super cute as a top with those gorgeous little petal sleeves. I do hope you've really enjoyed that. It's been a fun little process to learn how to adapt those sleeves, how to shorten the garment, to make it into a top and give it quite a radical change, really. So thank you for joining me today. I've been Izzy at Minerva, and we've got loads more of these lovely little videos for you to watch on pattern hacks for our Minerva exclusive patterns. So do check out our playlist here on our YouTube website. Thanks for joining me today. See you next time.